3, 2, 1. You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is Real Pineapple. This is Hunter here. Happy Mother's Day. Hope you're all having a great one. Shout out to my amazing mother. Mom, I love you so much. Hope you're having a great day. So I've got a quick review here of the J.R.R. Tolkien biopic, Tolkien, which is directed by Dom. I'm going to butcher your name, sir. I am sorry. Dom Karukowski. I'm going to go with that. Who really has done nothing of note. This is really kind of his first big sort of film here. And it's written by David Gleason, who also really has done nothing that I've heard of. And then the other guy, the other screenwriter, Stephen Beresford, who went ahead and directed a movie called Pride, but that was about 4 years ago. So, yeah, really a lot of unknown variables in this. And as far as, is this movie great, or is it good, is it bad? It's okay. It's okay. I mean, that's really the best way I would describe this. And I think if there is a problem with this movie, this falls, I think it's better than this, what I'm about to compare it to, but it falls into that line of Jobs, the Ashton Kutcher, Steve Jobs biopic. It's more on that realm of the spectrum, where this will be something someone asks me, oh, did you ever see this? So I'll go, oh yeah, I did see this, didn't I? Oh yeah, that's fine. So let's go through the positives first. Nicholas Hoult, who plays J.R.R. Tolkien. Nicholas Hoult, I think he's a damn good actor. I really think he's underappreciated and very underrated. I thought he was so great in The Favorite. He was so great in Mad Max, Fury Road. You see him in the X-Men films. I think he's been a great Hank McCoy. I loved him in Warm Bodies. The man's a great actor. He really is. I think as far as Tolkien, I think Tolkien would be proud of what Nicholas Hoult did with his performance. I thought he did a damn good job of making Tolkien feel relatable, yet he's striving for greatness, and how that does inevitably push people away. I thought the chemistry he had with Lily Collins, who plays Edith Bratt, who of course ended up becoming his wife down the road, I thought their relationship was just so well depicted, and unlike the film The Hustle that I just reviewed, I thought there was really great chemistry between the two of them, and that alone, admittedly, I think the film, if there is a complaint, and this might sound weird, but it does lean a little bit too much on that relationship, in the sense of the film feels like it can fall short in other areas because that relationship will be so strong. So Tolkien himself ended up creating this damn near, his version of the Justice League, but it's for artists, which I thought was a really cool, interesting concept. Their huge kind of tagline is, here's to changing the world. And I appreciated the way that him and his friends, the TCBS is what they call themselves. I thought that was actually a really cool concept. So Craig Roberts plays his friend Sam Hodges. I'm trying to think of the other three guys, but yeah, Craig Roberts, he plays Sam Hodges. You've got Ty Tennant, who plays a young version of a Christopher Wiseman. You have Jeffrey Smith, I believe, is the other guy, and I want to say there's one more. I want to say it's maybe McIntosh, I want to say. But he's got his three friends. And so what is cool about watching this movie, you feel they're not beating you over the head with them, I don't think. And I'm gonna say something rather controversial. I'm not a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings films. Or the books. I've read the books through a couple times. Once because I just wanted to read them, and the second because I want to make sure I didn't like them. And I'm just not a huge fan. But what is cool about this is that when you see Tolkien fighting in World War One, and I think the film does a pretty good job of the spacing in this sense, you do see that not only how war can just fuck with someone's head and how it can really it brings up something that's not talked about enough. What happens after the war? What do you do? How do you get back to, a sense of normalcy? And I think this movie does a good job. Not as much as I would have liked, but it does a good job of at least acknowledging that, hey, things are rarely the same when you come home than before you leave. And I appreciate the movie really touching on that from a soldier perspective. I appreciate the fact that him and his friends, they have all these plans on changing the world, and how the war, unfortunately, really fucks those plans into oblivion. I appreciate the fact that Tolkien he's very driven, but at the same time, what makes him and Lily Collins' Edith, what makes their relationship so fascinating is that Edith is, even in this boys club that he's a part of, Edith is really the only one that calls him on his shit, and she's almost pit bullish in that sense. She's very tenacious about being on Tolkien, saying, look, basically, like, you don't have to experience greatness by yourself. And Tolkien is put in a really tough spot. He's raised by Father Francis, who's played by Colin Meaney. You've seen him in a lot of stuff. Last Mohicans is what came to mind for me. Get Him to the Greek. He, of course, was Jonathan Snow. He was in Law Abiding Citizen. There's Layer Cake. He's been in a lot of shit, but I loved him in this. There's this scene between Father Francis and Tolkien about Edith, because Tolkien, his studies are slipping. He's clearly one of those students who is just so smart. He's kind of like, I'm not above this, but I don't need to be here. Like, you don't need to be. I guess I would be above it, wouldn't it? But you don't need to teach me this stuff. I know what I need to know. Just give me a pen and pad, or give me just a fountain pen, I guess, in this, or one of those fancy calligraphy pen or whatever. Give me one of those and some paper and let me just write. And Father Francis pretty much tells him, look, you're fucking slipping. You need to get your shit together. And they have this, I think, amazing blow-up scene about how Tolkien says he's in love with Edith. Father Francis goes, oh, that's cool. Well, when you're 21, you can go ahead and pursue that, but you're still under my care legally, so you're going to get your ass back to school. And then that leads to another great scene where Tolkien has to really just end things with Edith, and he ends up going to Oxford, and he's got these beautiful women around him, and he just can't concentrate because he's still thinking about Edith. And I love how the relationship ends up going. I really appreciate, too, that this movie does focus on Tolkien's earlier years. You don't get, Tolkien as an old man, which I understand that might be a sticking point with some people about why they don't love the movie, and that's completely fine. For me, I thought it focused on the stuff it needed to, without it just kind of hammering me over the head, but still really kind of pushing the dialogue and everything through. I think what really kept me involved in this was not just the war scenes, but I thought Dom Karofsky did a great job with the directing of the film. There are just some shots of him and Edith just talking. It feels almost, and again, it's not as great as this movie, but it feels almost Benjamin Button-esque in the way it's shot. It has that very kind of old-timey, almost kind of grainy look to it, but it's still so beautifully shot that I really felt engaged the whole time, just from the way things were being presented to me. Tolkien himself, I mean, he's very eccentric. Very almost Sherlock Holmes-esque in that sense, and how eccentric he is. He is just great in this, and you understand where Tolkien's coming from, but you can understand too how a guy like that would just drive you almost nuts, because his friends are at points are kind of going, dude, you're kind of pissing us off, but they all know that he's destined for greatness. So it's really interesting to see that dynamic between him and his friends. When he goes to war and you see him just seeing the horrors of what World War One was, and seeing his friends in danger and people he's grown close to in danger, seeing them, just people laid out in front of them, people just being brutally murdered. Now, for PG-13, I thought they did a good job of getting the violence across without showing you, everything. I think that's a really hard line to walk, and they did a damn good job with it. Also, it's interesting to see how he sees, the enemies just as these, like, literally as dragons in front of him and things to conquer, and how you get those little glimpses into what into what would end up becoming, the kind of the backdrop and the motivation for Lord of the Rings down the road. It's really fascinating too how the group of friends he has, they talk about this friendship, this fellowship that they have. The Lord of the Ring comparisons, they're definitely there, obviously, but it is cool how they kind of sprinkle them in. You go, oh, all right, this works. I just really found, at the end of 2 hours, I just didn't really feel like I had learned a lot more about Tolkien, which is a problem. It really felt like more of a validation for Lord of the Rings, just kind of going, oh, war is what helped inspire this. It didn't feel like I learned a lot more about Tolkien as a person, which I definitely have to ding it for, because that's kind of the fucking point. So, wrapping up here, I saw this at night. I don't think you need to pay full price for this. I think that is way too much. But at the same time, it's slightly better than your average rental, so I'm kind of torn. I'm gonna give this a C plus, because I think if you red box this or rent it on Amazon or iTunes, Vudu, whatever platform you use, I think you'd be content. I think you'd be happy if you rented this at home. You'd go, oh, all right, that was cool. But you could wait for this to come on Netflix too. I mean, it's nothing I would tell anyone to rush out and see, but there's enough stuff from a just pure film perspective that I went, you know what, this works for me. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of C plus. But guys, what did you think of Tolkien? Did you happen to get a chance to see it? Let us know what you thought. You can go ahead and like us on Facebook, at The Real Pineapple. You can go ahead and follow yours truly on the Twitter at @JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearmanthefirst. You can follow Colin on Twitter at Thereeloneal. And you can go ahead and like and subscribe to us at The Real Pineapple. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Podbean, and Spotify. And I think I said it already, but just confirm SoundCloud as well at The Real Pineapple. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this week for John Wick Chapter 3, yes, as well as a review for the first Spider-Man, Sam Raimi edition. And we're going to start reviewing all the Spider-Man films leading up to Far From Home this week. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.